like to introduce you to the VSCO app. Once you download it, it's that white icon. It looks like a little shutter. When you open it up, often you'll open it up into the social media aspect of it. So you need to click the little camera icon to get into the camera aspect of it. And then once you're in the camera aspect of it, it looks like this. So you see your picture, and then on the right over there, or if you have it portrait orientation, it would be on the bottom. You get some other options. I'm not as much worried about those other options yet. We'll dive into those week 4 and 5. But what's key is this little red button over here is where you set focus and exposure. So depending on what you want to emphasize in your picture, you can just move that around. So then if I tap and drag, I can separate out the focus and exposure, which is a really nice option. So I want the focus on the flowers 100%. But if I move the exposure over, I can play around with getting it lighter. Oops, come on. Or darker. So if I put the exposure in a dark area, the exposure gets light. If I put the exposure on a light area, the exposure gets dark. So you can see the camera kind of trying to adjust each time. If you want to keep pushing the exposure in different areas, right over here, the middle slider is exposure compensation. So it's that little sun. So I can make things intentionally darker or intentionally lighter. As always, you always want to just boost a little bit in one direction or another. Whenever you're using a slider, don't go all the way. And then if you want it to go back to automatic, you just hit that A button up top, and that'll be the automatic exposure, the camera deciding what the exposure should be. So those are the key things. You just take the picture right over here with that button, and then it loads its own, you click and you can find pictures there. So there's some of those pictures I've previously taken. Oh, and then it goes back to that social media app, and then I click right on that camera button to go back to the camera. So that's the VSCO app.